So there was quite a lot of reaction to a video I did with kind of entry level to intermediate 7 strings. And so I kind of figured maybe I should do the intermediate 6 strings for metal video. Again, probably a lot of people looking at what is out there on the market, what kind of guitars there are. I got some interesting comments last time. Somebody was like, oh, you know, budget is up to $1,000, and it kind of is. If you start to get somewhat serious, again, I still count myself as a beginner, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to experiment a little bit with different guitars. So I kind of figured I'd try and put something out there, basically with what I've learned, having gone past the sort of entry-level beginner guitars and starting to look at things that are a little more aimed at the intermediate market. So just wanted to go through a few things and show you guys my personal findings. And again, it's all my opinion. Your mileage may vary, but this is kind of the what's around and what have I looked at in the intermediate kind of middle of the range metal guitar area. So let's start with this one. It's a Schecter C6 Plus. So this is kind of the bottom of the range. Country of origin is Indonesia. It's got a bolt-on neck, 25.5 inch scale, 24 frets, basswood body, maple neck, rosewood fingerboard, tuneomatic bridge. It came with Schecter pickups, which were perfectly good. This one just got upgraded to, I think, a Symour Duncan Black Winter. The guitar itself is a really nice basic guitar at a good price. I think retail now these are about 500. I paid 400 for it. I think I got it either used or it was a display model. It's all Schecter components. It plays fine, decent build quality, but nothing super special. It's okay, but you know, you can see there's a difference to some of the better quality guitars. But overall, if you're looking for a perfectly playable entry to intermediate guitar for playing metal, this one fits the bill. Price, I paid about 400 for it. You can probably get them used for about that, maybe a little less if you get a good bargain. So any discussion of intermediate level guitars for metal absolutely wouldn't be complete without the classic, the Gibson SG. I kind of grew up, you can probably tell from the accent, in the land of heavy rock, heavy metal. Same hometown as Black Sabbath, so I guess this has to be the kind of standard guitar. Made in USA, 24.75 inch scale, 22 frets, mahogany body, rosewood fingerboard, very standard Grover tuners. But again, it's the absolute kind of standard heavy rock, metal introduction guitar, if you like. In terms of the pros, it's kind of the standard. It plays perfectly well. The build quality is reasonable. You know, no fundamental complaints. Nothing's really badly put together. Nothing's falling off. You know, nice neck. Playability is a choice. It's not got the thinnest neck in the world, but it's perfectly good. So generally, it's a nice guitar. In terms of cons, the tuning stability isn't the greatest. I think they're overpriced new. I think Gibson is very much relying on its kind of name rather than the current quality of the guitars it makes. But again, not to detract from this, it's a perfectly nice guitar. I bought this used, cost me I think $900. New, they're a little bit more, and again I think they're probably overpriced for what you get, but again it's a perfectly good guitar, and I think in some ways, you know, it's kind of the standard for this kind of instrument. So I guess you could be forgiven for thinking that's the same guitar. Well, not quite. This is what ESP kind of did with the Gibson SG. So as you can see, it's very, very similar in terms of body style. This one made in Korea, same 24.75 inch scale, but an extra couple of frets, so 24 frets on this one. Mahogany body, ebony fingerboard, tuneomatic bridge. This one has EMG active pickups, so you get a slightly different sound, not necessarily better or worse, it's just slightly higher output active pickups on this thing. In terms of pros, the build quality on this is absolutely excellent. It's very, very well put together, nice fit and finish. You've got locking tuners which cure some of the tuning stability problems of the Gibson. It's a very playable guitar. It sounds really good. Does it have any negative aspects? They're a little on the expensive side, but again, probably in my humble opinion, I like this a little more than the Gibson, but it's very much a matter of taste. And honestly, there is not a lot to choose between them. So now, before we finish with the Gibson SG copies, I had to go and take a look at this one. So this is a Schecter Platinum S2. You don't see many of them around. It's made in Korea. Again, same 24.75 inch scale, 24 frets. Three-piece set neck. But again, here you're starting to see a difference where the Gibson SG, the neck comes to an end and then there's a chunk of body that sticks out. This is utterly smooth, so your hand moves in a much nicer, unobstructive way. It's got Schecter locking tuners, so again that deals with some of the tuning stability issue, and again this one has active pickups. Same tuneomatic bridge, so it's a very basic kind of simple guitar, but built to absolutely superb quality. The fit and finish, while it's a really simple guitar, the fit and finish is excellent. Really, really nice to play, and this one to me is kind of a step above both the Gibson and the ESP, the Viper 1000. It's not a lot in it, but if I have to sort of figure out, okay, which one do I want to play, it's this one every time. Just has an absolutely gorgeous feel to it. It sounds awesome with the EMG pickups. In terms of price, you don't see many of these things around. I tried to look them up online, couldn't find another one for sale. So they're kind of unusual, but I'm not saying that makes them worth more. I got this as part of a series of trades. The value was put at about $900. So again, it's very much in the same price range, and you can't buy them new anymore, but you can buy these used. Same kind of price range, but this one, the Schecter, I haven't picked up a bad Schecter, and when you start to get into this price range, they really do start to become quite nice instruments. I mean, this easily rivals, you know, Fender, Gibson, some of the other things, and it comes in at a decent price. Really nice guitar. Okay, so no review of heavy metal guitars would be complete without something pointy. So this is a Jackson Pro Rhodes RR24 in charcoal grey. Again, these are somewhat hard to find online now. Haven't seen many of them. I think this one is a few years old, probably 4 or 5 years. Neck through construction, 24 frets, 25.5 inch scale, and comes with Symour Duncan pickups as standard. Now this one is the first of the ones I'm looking at which has the Floyd Rose tremolo system. So for anybody not familiar with Floyd Rose, what it basically gives you is a fully floating trem, so you can actually get to the point here, as you can see, where the strings are completely slack, and then it'll come straight back into tune. You can also pull back, so you have a whole load of tremolo options. I've seen some people who are playing and even hitting the tremolo, and you get some interesting effects. So the Floyd Rose system gives you some flexibility that anything with the fixed bridge doesn't. It also means you've got the shortest possible length of string. You have a locking nut that does it with hex keys. The strings lock in the back end. So tuning stability, once you have it, is absolutely rock solid. The only downside of the Floyd Rose is if you want to change string gauge or tuning, instead of it being a 15-minute, 20-minute task, it's going to take you probably a couple of hours. If it gets fairly significant and you're doing a big change, so for example going from standard E to standard C tuning, there's a set of kind of cantilever springs in the back. You can sometimes end up having to add springs or take a spring away, because the whole stability of the bridge is based on the tension between the strings on the front and the springs on the back. So I guess the other thing is people either love or hate V's. Most people I've seen play them with the V kind of wedged between their legs, so something like that. And in some ways it's much more of a kind of classical style, or you can just stick a guitar strap on. So very much more of a kind of stage instrument. This one, sensibly, they've at least put the jack here. Some of the V's have really awkwardly placed jacks, so it actually isn't possible to sit it kind of well balanced like that. In terms of fit and finish, this is really gorgeous. You've got kind of, you know, binding here, binding on this. Very smooth, oiled finish neck, fast neck. So the pros, it's a really nice guitar. If you like the Floyd Rose for great tuning stability, it's a really good feature. If you like the look and it's a nice stage instrument, you got a really nice guitar. Again, it's a thing of taste. If you want to change tuning, so just going to drop tuning can take a while. So it's not the fastest guitar to tune. And of course, not everybody is comfortable with the V. But really, really nice guitar. Oh, price, I think I paid about $900 and something for this. Again, this was probably a display model. I get a lot of things a little cheaper, particularly from some places where there's a lot of display models. I can pick them up at very good prices. And now we're coming to my favourite guitars, the last two. This is a Schecter C6FR Pro in Aurora Burst. And to me, I think it's a thing of absolute beauty. Just aesthetically, it's a really gorgeous guitar, really nicely put together, great fit and finish. It's Indonesian, mahogany body, maple neck, 24 frets. It has a 25.5 inch scale length. Schecter, I think they're diamond decimator pickups. And again, it has the Floyd Rose locking tuner system. So, you know, once again, you can actually get to the point where the strings are flopping around, and then they come right back, still in tune. What else to say about this? The pros. It's aesthetically beautiful, absolutely spectacular fit and finish, very good tuning stability, so same comments on the Floyd Rose as with the V. So once it's in tune, absolutely solid. It's not quick to change. This one currently is kept in C standard, so heavier strings. Right now there's 5 springs in the back. You also end up doing things like in here there's some cotton wadding in the back to stop the springs resonating internally. But that's something that you can fairly quickly figure out. It's like, where's that noise coming from? And you realise that sometimes the springs continue to resonate. Beautiful guitar. Does it have any cons? Some people say, well, you need a PhD in engineering to figure out a Floyd Rose. Once you've got them figured out, you start to get quicker at it. You also have to treat them with some respect, because I've seen on some guitars people have actually gone too heavy-handed with the Allen keys and trying to adjust either the nut or the strings or the adjusters, and they can be stripped. Replacing a Floyd Rose is going to cost you probably $300 to $400, so it's not a cheap thing if you screw it up. But the guitar, absolutely beautiful, stays in tune, beautiful thin neck, plays like absolute butter, is probably my favourite guitar for metal. So last but not least, and this is probably the most expensive guitar on the list, it's an Ibanez RG652A HM Nebula Green Burst. So I think the first Ibanez I've reviewed, but this is absolutely a thing of beauty. It's made in Japan, ash body, 5-piece maple walnut neck, 25.5 inch scale, 24 frets. It's got Damasio pickups, which come as standard, and it's got the Ibanez variation on the Floyd Rose, which is called their Edge tremolo system. But again, it's exactly the same engineering, as you can see. Lots of range there, and it comes straight back into tune. Built in Japan. This to me kind of has almost next level build quality. The thing is absolute perfection, precision, fit and finish is absolutely precise. All the components are absolutely beautiful. It's got incredible intonation. So the first guitar, the entry-level Schecter, sometimes when you're playing up here, or if you've got sort of some interesting, very clean tone melodic stuff going on the Schecter, you notice, yeah, this is really hard to keep in tune. This is absolutely precise, so 0 tuning issues. Again, locking tremolo system, so once it's in tune, it stays in tune. It has an absolutely gorgeous neck, again, kind of an oiled finish, so very, very fast, smooth neck. You can get right up to the top frets, and it just has beautiful low action. You know, you can get low action in a lot of things, but this still plays really cleanly. There's no buzzing. Absolutely superb. Does it have a downside? It's almost too nice. In some ways, it's kind of like the difference between some Japanese cars and some maybe European or other vehicles which have more character. This is just an engineering masterpiece. The Schecter feels like it has more somehow character, and it's a guitar I almost like to play more, and it suits metal a little bit more. Again, the Gibson SG is far from perfect and is nowhere near the build quality or the accuracy of this, but it kind of has a feel to it. This is just very clean, so it's the sort of thing where if you're starting to play really fast stuff, intricate, clean stuff, this suits it very well. It also has some interesting, it's got a 5-way selector, so you can do some magic with the different pickup settings. The downside, it's no longer a cheap guitar. So I had somebody comment on a previous video, you know, budget guitar at $1,000. Well, this is absolutely not a budget instrument. New, I think these things are still retailing now in the $2,000 mark. I paid probably, I think, $1,400 and something for this. It was on display as used, but it doesn't have a mark on it, and I honestly couldn't see why it was reduced so much. Absolutely stunningly gorgeous guitar. So in summary, there's a lot of guitars out there on the market for people who are kind of at an intermediate level. I just wanted to put some stuff out there so people could get a look at, okay, what's the pricing, what are the differences? And I think once you get into this range, it becomes as much a matter of taste as it does pure science, if you like. You know, they've all got different scale lengths. The longer scales take drop tuning and down tuning a little better. Going up to a Floyd Rose can make quite a big difference, but it has its pros and cons. And again, you know, if you want to have something on stage, the Vs are quite nice. Not everybody feels comfortable playing the V. So I hope I've kind of gone through a few different options, and this gives people an idea of what's out there and what's available. When it comes down to favorites, even though this is probably new, half the price of one of the guitars here, I think to play, this one is still my favorite. It's about $1,000, sounds awesome, plays awesome. So again, it's taste rather than price.